보라선언 소리 들리세요? 보라선언 소리 들리세요? 네, 감사합니다. 마이크 테스트 한번 부탁드릴게요. Hello, DTT. Can you hear us? Can you check the mic test?
Yes, we can.
보라선언 들리세요, 스님?
DTT.
아, 네, JC 잘 들립니다. Thank you, DTT.
Hello, sound check. Try again. It's okay, I think, from my side. Try again. Okay, better? Okay, thank you. Hello, listen, Jim. Sound check.
Hello, hello.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our Asia Chan class. So many of you. I was meditating. Every week I really have no idea what I want to talk about. But today, so usually I come to class and then I meditate, and all of a sudden these ideas well up. It's probably coming from you. Okay, so today something came up when I was meditating, and so many things. Well, forgive the lack of adornment, okay? Because it's like a last-minute thing. I texted my people something like 10 minutes before the end of the sit. So as you can see, we didn't have a lot of time to embellish it. Okay. So concept for Asians, okay, or people with Asian descents, is self-greatness versus self-respect. Okay. Or arrogance versus self-respect. Okay, this is something is funny. Personally, I've always been, when I was younger, more impressed with Western culture. You know, the Western art, the Western cuisine, Western naturally red face or orange face. Okay, it's so beautiful to me. Okay, that we Asians don't have. You know, I hope that you Asians come up with some kind of spray to make my face orange. Anyway, it's so different from us Asian. Asian is like white, you know, like yellowish, like yellow, you know, tint and so forth. And so I was more impressed with the Western culture, and I remember one of my uncle's brother who grew up in France. So he's Vietnamese. His brother, his blood brother, I believe, grew up in France. And at the time, I was about 8, 9 years old in Nha Trang, and he came for a visit. And this is the first time I saw a Vietnamese guy, okay, who grew up in France. And he was eating away. He loved Vietnam food, okay, authentic Vietnamese food. And he was eating, and I look at him, I saw these couple pink cheeks. I said, wow, so handsome. So it's fascinating. I think that's where originated the fascination for Western skincare. But so I was more, since then I was more inclined to go after, and then a French high school, I went to French high school and so forth. So it went downhill from there, uphill from there. But the one thing though, so when I was younger, since becoming a teenager, I was more drawn to the Western culture. The one thing that stuck in my mind though, that the Western culture doesn't have, is self-respect. The concept. Somehow this 自重 or tự trọng in Vietnamese, okay, stuck in my mind. I say, wow, it stuck in my mind. Looking back, it's like constantly, for some reason. Okay, and is there such a concept in Western culture? 自重. You think? Well, there's a name for it, but there's a word for it.
I think it's self-esteem.
Self-esteem?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could say self-esteem, but the stronger sense to me is respect, not esteem. Okay? Esteem is still self-promoting. Respect is not necessarily self-promoting. Okay? So this is where the Westerners think of it as self-esteem. I think of it as self-respect. Okay? Because in Vietnamese, tự trọng, I understood it back then as self-respect, not self-esteem. Okay? Self-esteem came later when I learned English. How about the rest of you? What do you think? What's your experience? Okay, but anyway, for me personally, it's self-respect, okay, not self-esteem. and that's all I remember. I remember, wow, this is kind of interesting. This concept of self-respect, tự trọng. In Vietnamese, when I was taught this concept was self-respect, not self-esteem. Okay, and then it's also there's also the word self, 自大, tự đại, meaning that self-greatness, or if you will, you put it in terms of Western culture, self-aggrandizement. No? This is what our times really means. 自大 here is self-aggrandizement. You know how to spell it? You want me to spell it for you? You Asians. You want me to type it for you? Okay. Yes, please. Okay. What happened to my mouse? Okay. Could be like aggrandizement. Make another one. A warm box, okay. Well, I'm going to butcher this. How's that? Self-aggrandizement. What happened? There's a T there. Okay. So the Westerners, it's more in a sense, the sense of self-aggrandizement. You make yourself bigger. Okay, it keeps on growing and growing. Self-greatness is still has a sense of static. Okay, but self-aggrandizement is you get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's the Western mindset. Agree or disagree? No? Doesn't ring a bell for you? Western influenced Asians? Yes, Professor Hao.
Master, is that a Z, self-aggrandizement? Or it's a Canadian or UK spelling?
With no E?
No, I said instead of S, it's a Z. Self-aggrandizement.
Okay, brother, it's okay. Stay in your lane. Are we? What's happening with my president and your Toronto, right? Your premier.
He is also my president.
She's dual citizenship. Okay.
No, I'm American through and through. I'm just a resident in Canada.
Ooh, careful.
No worry, I didn't vote. I stay neutral. I can go to either Go Forest or Way Mountain.
Okay, and there's another one here. In the context of self-aggrandizement is also self. Guess what? Anyone would like to venture a guess? Okay, the Chinese character is very, very, very suggestive. You see, ta is great, right? Ta also means big, so you make yourself bigger. Okay, that's the concept here, the context of the words. What about 自重? What does it mean 自重 in the Chinese language? Besides respect, what else is there? What do you think? I don't trust these people anymore. You know, they're like old school. I need new school, new thoughts, new perspective.
The character means like heaviness.
See, I came to the right place. Self-sinking. Would you agree? I can't type. Maybe he disagrees with you.
Yeah, this sometimes
Self-sin. Self-sinking. Self-submersion. Self-submerging.
yeah, back up.
Okay, now return. You see that? That's 自重 to me. If when I was younger, 自重 is self-respect. But actually, in a Chan school, it's self-submerging. What do you think? This is so Asian to me. Self-submerging is so Chan. Self-aggrandizement is also Chan. Because when you do Chan, you apply Chan is self-aggrandizement. Okay? Because I remember Master YongHua, when he came to the US, he knew very well he had a mission. He was carrying a mission to bring Mahayana to the West. Okay? What did he do? He came to the West with maybe $10,000, $15,000 to San Francisco. And he waited for 6 years. He rented some like cheap apartment in Chinatown, San Francisco Chinatown, and very cheap place, knowing him, and probably one room. Okay, and he stayed there for 6 years. He submerged for 6 years. Okay, and that's, what is that called in Buddhism? According with conditions. Even great bodhisattvas, even Buddhas, must accord with conditions. That's very Buddhist. Buddhists can simply, I want a car, I want a palace, I want. But no, Buddhas would wait for the right time, okay, and go to the right place, wait for the right time to do his work. And that's according with conditions. You don't force it. That's Buddhist wisdom right there. Okay? Okay? Yes, so we Buddhists have dreams, we have ambitions, we have desires, but we wait for the proper conditions to do our work. Like Buddhas, like Bodhisattvas, like Mahasattvas, if you will. Now, I'm more fascinated by Mahasattvas because I saw my Bodhisattva level disciples as, oh no, I discertify you, uncertify you, because you give that name to Bodhisattvas. Okay? So far so good. So So self-respect is what I understand, most people understand self-respect. You really respect yourself, okay? You have enough respect for yourself. There's certain things you would not do. Is that clear? Whereas self-greatness is that you do anything to make yourself great, okay? Or make yourself bigger, more popular, more famous. Meaning if it takes bribery, it takes stealing, it takes manipulating others, okay? It's okay. It's perfectly acceptable, okay? That's Western culture. But whereas what I stuck in my mind, even though at the time, remember, I was very enamored with Western culture, the one concept that stuck in my mind is only 自重, self-respect, okay? And now that I understand a little bit more about Chan, then I see it as a self-submerging, okay? Because 自大 is you make yourself more visible, yes? Bigger and bigger, therefore more visible, okay? Whereas 自重 here is you make yourself sink, disappear, okay? So the heavier you are, the deeper you sink. Isn't that cool? It is so Asian. And this is something for you children probably cannot identify with. You say, why? What? I'm the greatest. Yeah? That's so Western education. But it's okay. Western education is okay to start out. But eventually, when you reach a peak of self-greatness, okay, that's when you become self-respect, self-submerging. They're connected, by the way. You don't need to reject it. It's natural for us as with our ego to think we are the greatest, that we want to be greater, you want to be bigger, you want to do more, you want to be more famous. It's a natural inclination for us. It's perfectly healthy, okay? But if you do it right, eventually you get to the point of self-respect because you're so big now, okay? Then with that comes the noblesse oblige. I don't know how to explain that to you non-French speaking people. You should pick up French. It's so cool. Okay, noblesse oblige, literally noblesse, nobility. Oblige meaning that is required. Okay, it's required of nobility. Okay, so for example, imagine like you're a duke, you're a count, and you walk around, and someone says, idiot, or a-hole, something like that. Okay, and the Americans say, what did you say? Right? But the French noblemen, they would, you see? And because noblesse oblige, they cannot lower yourself to that level. So they don't curse. Do you curse? Not yet. He doesn't even know the word to curse. You know, like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what it is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, all those beautiful things. So American things. So the noblesse oblige is that I'm nobility. I cannot lower myself to do those things. Okay? And that's noblesse oblige. Okay? And so you see, if you will, you come from a peasant and you create merit and virtues that you save the king, and the king make you a chevalier, make you a knight, give you knighthood, like the Queen of England nowadays, because no more French nobility officially. So now you have to go to England to get knighted. Did you know that? And hint, hint. Anyway, she takes out this sword and tap it on your shoulder and said, now you're a knight, sir. You can call yourself Sir YongHua. Okay, and so it's so cool. And that's my dream. Okay, so anyway, you become nobility. So you come from a peasant background, you join the nobility class, and now you have to elevate your demeanor, your comportment, your values to that of nobility. So, my boys, you don't curse, you walk differently, okay? You talk differently, you eat differently. You comport yourself differently. Is that clear? That's called noblesse oblige. And as I said, first of all, you bring yourself to aggrandizement, you bring yourself to greatness. Yes, you're known as the Earl, the Count, the Duke, okay? And then, how do you go beyond it? And you go beyond it by submerging. You cannot go any greater. And the people with wisdom submerge. And that's so Chan. Chan is 自重. You're becoming, when you improve, okay, your core is heavier. By the way, your core becomes heavier. Okay? And they're more solid. Heavy because the core is more solid and more solid and more solid. Okay? And naturally, you will submerge. Questions and comments? That is so Asian. That is so Chan. So you go to work, okay? You get a job, you go to work, and you contribute. You say, okay, yes, according to conditions, what I do is I contribute using my skills, my wisdom, my smarts to contribute, okay? And that's when your boss will promote you, and become greater and greater and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? Eventually, this is a problem with in my field, my field in the past is that you get the peak there, you become a CEO, chairman, and so forth. Then what? And then you have to become Bill Gates, renounce it, and go into philanthropy. Okay? Problem with Western philanthropy is that they don't do self-submerging. If they were to do self-submerging, if Mr. Gates were to do self-submerging, okay, then he become greater. Because this greatness here has a limit. If you cannot see yourself any bigger than this. That's why he switched to philanthropy. And in philanthropy, he doesn't know how to do it. Philanthropy is you do submerging. That's the peak. If you want to break through your peak, you can go so high, okay, and then you sink, and then you sink deeper and deeper and deeper. Yes, 4.
Master, I'm still trying to get my head around the self-submersion. Let's say I want to be more self-submergent. How would that look like? What?
You always ask, details. See, figure it out. You always say, okay, it sounds good. Tell me exactly from A to Z. What does it entail? I'm just shooting my mouth. I'm not even charging you money. You want everything. How do you self-submerge? I told you. Visualize it. Self-submerging. You submerge. Okay? You want to be greater? Greater? That's Chan. You understand Chan? Because as you improve, your core is heavier, so you sink lower. Your core heavier, you sink lower, sink lower, you sink lower, you sink lower. That's self-submerging. Can you visualize it? Yeah?
Master,
That's 2 questions. Remember? 2 questions.
I'll save it.
This is a person, today's lunch, she confessed that she talks to ChatGPT now. And so that she can save 2 questions for me. I said, good, now you quota is up. 1 more question, that's it. After that, go back to ChatGPT. Huh? You see that? Submerging. Because if you see yourself as greater, you naturally have more self-respect. Self-respect as you disappear. People can no longer see you. So you disappear. You don't demand more attention. You demand less attention. You're happier when you have less attention than more attention. And that's what happens to you left home people. Okay? It's the same thing with us. We thought when we first started, it's self-aggrandizement, self-greatness. You want to be a great monk, a great nun, and so forth. I want to be famous. I want to have a lot of disciples. When you understand Chan, that's when you begin to see, yourself disappear. That's how you improve. That's how the Chan masters improve. Not by becoming more famous, by disappearing. Questions? Boy, this is a struggle for you. Huh?
Sư phụ.
Really a struggle for all of you. Oh, yeah, really? See, you're all screwed up by Western values. Yes, question there.
Dạ thưa sư phụ, con có thắc mắc trong tu tập đó, con hỏi một xíu được không sư phụ?
Hello, Master. I have a question about cultivation. Can I please ask you?
Why not?
Dạ thưa sư phụ, con hồi đó giờ con tu thì là con tu mật tịnh xong tu, chứ con biết thiền là từ khi con gặp sư phụ tới giờ, cho nên con rất là ngu ngốc. Nhưng mà thời gian gần đây á, con ngồi con tu á, con thấy cái con thiền thì có 1 tiếng thôi, con nghĩ vô lỗ rúng đàng hoàng thì là con thấy cái hơi thở của mình nó còn khoảng 30-40%. Thì con có hỏi thầy Hiền chỉ, thì thầy Hiền chỉ nói là tốt. Nhưng mà bây giờ nó không dừng ở đó, mà nó y như là không thở luôn, hầu như là không thở. Con lắng nghe cơ thể của mình, nó cũng lắng nghe lắm luôn, thì con nghe nó thở rất nhẹ, khoảng chừng không tới 10% nữa, khác y như con sợ có khi nào nó nín cái mình chết luôn không, con sợ vậy á. Dạ thôi chứ sao con thấy nó không y như là không thở vậy á, mà con lắng nghe lắm, con mới nghe nó thở nhẹ, thiệt là nhẹ. Với lại cái thứ hai là con có được con có được vô sơ thiền chưa?
Hello, Master. Back in the day, I've been cultivating with secret and Pure Land parallel practice. Not until I meet you, I started to cultivate meditation. So I'm very stupid in a way that recently I've been meditate for like an hour and I can jump right into my navel and my breathing somehow reduced to 70 to 80%. And I've asked Master Z what happened, and he said that it is a good thing. But nowadays, I can listen to my breathing, and it's about now become 10%. So I was afraid, I was concerned that I don't know if I'm gonna die from that, because I felt that sometimes it's very light and I can't even listen to it. It's so light that I thought that it stopped. So second question is, did I reach first dhyana?
Answer the second question, I hope so. First question, I hope you go to the Pure Land. It's natural when you enter samadhi, your breathing stops. Your coarse breathing stops. So it's a natural thing. Okay, you breathe differently. The breathing is much more fine, more refined. So more or less like you breathing through your skin instead of through the regular form of breathing. Okay? It's a good thing. Don't worry about it. You have to trust Master Z. And again, go to the Pure Land. Yes, next.
Di Đà Phật, cảm ơn thầy.
Thank you, Master.
Lina, please ask to Master.
Hi, Master. When I was growing up, I was taught to be humble. So I never liked too much attention on myself. But when I came to the US, many people told me, in this country, you cannot be shy. You need to show the world how excellent you are. Otherwise, you will not get opportunities. So I think it's kind of like a cultural thing. What's your perspective on this? Like, I'm talking about the submerging, self-submerging thing.
You have no self-respect. You lost your self-respect. Huh. Just because some people told you that you need to sell yourself, you need to be noticed to get ahead, and you agreed and you did that and you got ahead. Okay, I'm not saying you should not get ahead. What's wrong with you Asians? I said, first of all, you self-aggrandize, okay? You make yourself greater and greater and greater. And as long as you still can go greater, go for it. Okay? But eventually, once you reach the peak of greatness, then you begin to submerge. So what you don't understand is that it's because you haven't got the peak of your greatness yet. Okay? That's why. This submerging here, let me explain to you the concept of submerging. Okay? Before that, you promote yourself. Okay? When you stop promoting yourself, then what do you do then? You promote an ideal. You sell an ideal. You promote others, like your own disciples, your peers, the ancients. Okay? You don't worry about yourself anymore. Okay? And because you're heavy, so you sink more. That's all. See that? It's a very, very, very graphic way of thinking about it. Okay? You're heavy already, and if you keep on promoting yourself, it's counter to your nature, because you want to get heavier. Okay, then there's a much more friction there. Whereas if you submerge, you let go. That's how you get heavier and bigger. Yes, 4.
Master, I'm wondering why you want to promote yourself even at a lower level. Isn't that anti-Chan to promote yourself at all, even for before you reach the peak?
You don't promote yourself, how are you going to get a raise?
But we're talking about cultivation, right? Not career.
Screw cultivation. Excuse me. Jeez, what's the matter with you? Live. I'm talking about life. You start first with making yourself greater and greater and greater, making yourself bigger and bigger, okay? More and more important. That's your contribution. That's natural. This is how we are trained. That's how we are educated. You carry you train to carry a bigger burden. That's self-greatness, a self-aggrandizement. But once you get the peak, when you become Atlas, you carry the weight of the world on you. How are you going to become greater? That's it. That's all you have. You carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. And this is what Westerners, the people who become famous, don't understand. That's why it took a person with wisdom, Chan wisdom like Buffet, to teach, what's his name, Gates. He says, hey Gates, you're at the peak of your profession, your career. That's it. You cannot go any higher than this. Now, you have to submerge. Stop promoting yourself. Stop promoting self-interests. But it starts first. If this is part of your training, you have to make yourself greater and make yourself bigger to develop skills, to contribute. You think that Buddhism is so passive? This is the bad image, bad rap we have from the non-Buddhists. Buddhists are so passive, they don't do anything. No, Buddhists is the first thing we do is we make ourselves bigger and greater. How? Work harder, build your Kung Fu. Your Kung Fu is greater, bigger, higher, better. That's that process right there. Okay? When you reach the level of wisdom of a Mahasattva, that's when you start sinking. That's how you idiot bodhisattvas out there. You think you're special? As long as you think you're special, you're an idiot. You have not there yet. Yes, 5. Now I'm getting upset.
I want to clarify.
No! Go ahead.
Does promoting yourself here meaning that improving yourself, proving yourself?
Making yourself more important to the company, making yourself more important
Not
to your
like-
community. That's how you contribute for the betterment of the community, of the company, of society. That's the skill we're going to do. That's our contribution. Do you think when you submerge, you're not contributing? You're contributing without efforts now. You effortlessly are contributing. I know the concept you don't understand, okay? You submerge, actually it's contributing in anonymity, contributing without being noticed, even more than before. One day you understand what it means. You're not there yet. That's why you don't understand what it means to submerge and contribute bigger by submersion.
So promoting here doesn't mean selling yourself, right?
Oh,
Promoting
whatever
is
it
more
takes. Sell
about
yourself,
improving.
sell your son, sell your, sell your boys. I don't care, sell. Sell your husband. Yes, do me. I don't know where the sell husband comes from, but
마스터 들리세요? 오늘 설명하신 그 내용이 마스터께서 지난주에 설명하셨을 때 진전하고 있다, 우리가 올바른 방향으로 진전하고 있다는 증거가 에고가 줄어드는 거다, 대표적으로 그렇게 말씀하신 것과 제가 어떻게 이해해야 되는지 좀 혼란스러워서 질문 드립니다.
Master, the explanation you gave us today and the explanation you gave us last week about the progressing in our cultivation, you said the evidence of our progress in our cultivation is that your ego becomes smaller. And then I'm confused about today's talk, how to understand this.
그리고 또 한 가지가 있는데, 두 번째는 제가 교육받기로는 자기존중이라는 개념이 타협하지 않는 거다라고 저는 그렇게 배웠어요. 그러니까 예를 들면 자기의 신념을 어떤 이익 때문에 교환하지 않는다는 뜻인데, 그것이 자기존중, 마스터가 설명하신 것과 어떻게 좀 다른 건지, 제가 잘못 교육을 이해한 건지, 그것도 두 가지가 질문 드립니다.
And the second question is, as I learned, the self-respect is not compromising. Because of your interest, you don't exchange your interest with your beliefs or your faith. Is this a different thing from what I learned, or?
No, it's right. You don't prostitute yourself. You don't sell yourself too cheap. Your price, it should be higher. The self-respect means you want me, you have to pay more and more and more. The more self-respect you have, the higher your price. Hey, folks, don't think self-respect means you get cheaper. No, you become more expensive, much more expensive. Is that clear?
이제 그러다 보니까 제가 좀 그게 에고가 강한 것들이 아니었나. 그러니까 사실 좀 그렇게 뭐 이익이나 조금 좀 칭찬 받으려고 내 의견이 아닌 거를 반대로 한다든지, 저는 그런 교육을 받고 자라진 않아서 그것이 좀 마스터가 말씀하셨던 강한 에고랑 연관되어 있는 건 아닌지 좀 제가 많이 혼란스럽습니다. 네.
So I'm thinking maybe I have a strong ego because for my benefit or to get complimented, sometimes I would just oppose someone who's not aligning my opinions. Is this connected to strong ego? I'm confused right now.
It's too complicated to explain you because I don't understand you either. But let me answer the first question. Okay? I appreciate your questions because it's through your asking questions that helps me explain myself more clearly. Okay? There's a progression. We all naturally are shooting for self-greatness or self-aggrandizement. This is how we are conditioned by our parents, by our teachers, by society. Okay? And I try to explain to you that those of you, this is a natural thing. This is what I would call contribution to society. Okay? I would call expanding the boundaries of human knowledge and experience. Okay? It's very positive. Okay? Because this is good for you in the sense that you're developing skills, you're developing self-confidence. Self-confidence must come through achievements, must come through results, not by manipulating others, not by cheating, okay, not by stealing, okay. That is self-destructive, by the way. Okay, self-aggrandizement, self-greatness is actually you're contributing, and you actually are. I'm talking on positive side here. Yes, you can take this as negative side, but we chant is positive. Okay, we're not interested. We're not venturing into negative, the side of aggrandizement and greatness. Okay, we stay positive. So we stay positive. We make ourselves bigger, make ourselves greater, and that's contribution. That's advancing human knowledge. That's contributing at work, contributing at home, contributing to your community through your services, okay, through your volunteering and so forth. That's self-aggrandizement and self-greatness. You become recognized for your contribution. That's a very positive thing. This is not negative at all. If you do it in a sense because you're willing to hurt others, to become bigger, to become greater, then it's not chant. If you like that, I throw you out. I discourage you from coming. Seriously, this is not what we stand for. Or eventually, if you like that, eventually you leave because you find that you won't get support for your self-serving endeavors. Okay? Because if you self-aggrandize yourself, you make yourself greater by hurting others, by trampling on others, okay? Then you can never get to the next phase, the self-submerging and self-respect. The foundation of this self-aggrandizement, self-greatness is submerging and self-respect. That's a very important point. This is chant. This is nature of chant. The nature of chant is we learn to submerge, learn to because of self-respect. Okay, if you do that, okay, naturally, after you sit, okay, and you, let's say I look at you and say, oh, you improve. And I see big improvements in you before you even see yourself. Because your big improvement is a sense of self-respect, self-submerge. And that's what I notice in you. But when you go to work, all of a sudden you have more stamina. You're much better problem solver, okay, at work. And you're much more innovative, much more creative. It shows in your work. This is what I call contribution. It's a natural thing. You don't go, okay, now I'm faster, therefore I don't need to work anymore. You still put in the same amount of work. Before you work 5 hours, now you still work 5 hours, but you're much more productive. Okay? You don't scale back. And that's self-aggrandizement, that's self-greatness. When I say, when you improve in the right direction, then your ego becomes smaller, okay? The small ego I'm talking about, is actually the ego that is willing to trample on others to get what he wants. He's willing to hurt you just to satisfy himself. Okay? And that's not acceptable to me. I don't tolerate it. Yet you're in the wrong place. We don't do that here in our small world, our submerging world. Is that clear? So that's why, even though you are contributing more, you become more visible, you're making bigger contribution, more important contribution, getting more reward, you're getting more famous, okay? But deep down, inside, your ego shrinks. It's not as attached to it. If it were not the case, you can never get to submerging. Okay? Is that clear? It's nothing wrong with contributing. It's nothing wrong with making more money. It's nothing wrong with becoming famous and getting rewards for it. Okay? How else are you gonna know that you're in the right track in terms of contributions? How else are you gonna know that you're really making a contribution? If you really are, society will reward you. And the Chan side of it will restrain you so that you don't get overly selfish, self-serving, okay? Because when that happens, you will stop contributing. You only serve yourself. You peaked. Questions? Yes, four.
So, Master, you mentioned earlier that when one gets to the Mahasava level, that's when you start self-submerging. Could you clarify, is that the case, or it's not necessary?
When you get there, you know. I'm not going to discuss things that are way beyond you.
But then the question is more like, do we have to... Like I was thinking as you were explaining this, I was thinking that I should I should try to self-submerging, and then you mentioned that it's for Bodhisattva, for Mahasava. Then I'm like, okay, forget about it. So this is just really practical.
So is there a question or a self-declaration?
No, the question is, should we work towards that direction before get there, or we should just focus on the first one, self-greatness? Sounds bad.
I can't give you an exact roadmap of what happens. I'm giving you concepts only. And if you want a personal roadmap, it's a paid session. This is just, a amuse-bouche. I should give you an appetizer. You want more? You have to get personal coaching. Okay, anyone else? Why, you're so quiet today, except for America. Yes, Yomi.
마스터, 제가 마스터 말씀을 이해하기로는 그렇다면 우리가 어떤 걸 수행할수록, 다시 말하면 진전할수록 에고가 줄어들기 때문에 어떤 명예나 뭐 다른 사람과 잘 지내야 되겠다, 또는 유명해야 되겠다, 또는 경쟁자를 제거해야 되겠다는 생각들이 없어지면서 오히려 더 본질에 집중하면서 더 우리가 그렇게 기여할 수 있는 게 아닌가로 저는 그렇게 이해했는데 제가 제대로 이해한 건지 여쭤보고 싶습니다. 네.
Thank you very much. Time is up. Okay, quickly. have no self-respect.
So, Master, as I understand, so as we progress, because our ego shrinks, so there's lesser thought of I'm gonna be famous, I'm gonna eliminate my competitor, I'm gonna
No,
get
not
this
at all.
important
It's
person.
natural. You want to become more famous, and that's natural. Okay? It's nothing wrong with being famous. Nothing wrong being richer. Nothing wrong being more powerful. Okay? Just don't abuse it. It's natural. You're supposed to be famous. You're supposed to be an emperor. You're supposed to be a Picasso. Okay? You're supposed to be a great architect. It's natural. You don't have to fight it. You accord with conditions. That's all. Okay? You don't have to say, no, I don't want more money. Are you crazy? It's just like, you come to me and say, Master, I'd like to give you some money. I say, no, I have enough today. There's no wisdom in that. Does it help? Okay, very good. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Namaste. People do that to me all the time. They see me in the streets. Namaste.
谢谢钱女士。